Hey friends, I went to the fall edition of Brimfield for 2019 a couple days ago, and I did a little filming just on my phone. It's not very professional. Just to show you what it's like a little bit, give you a flavor, especially in case you've never been and are thinking about um, journeying to Brimfield sometime from far away. It happens 3 times a year in the spring, summer, and fall, and it's about a week each time. And it's pretty consistent as to how much is there. Some of the vendors vary from time to time, some are always there. And it's really huge. What you're seeing in this shot is me driving from one end to the other, which I've never done before. I always stop at the beginning and walk, but this year I decided to drive to the far end, being the end furthest from the highway exit I get off at, and walk back the other way, and then back the other way to my car. So I filmed while I was driving through, and it gives you a sense of just how big it is. I think it's maybe about a mile long, but what you're seeing here is just the tip of the iceberg. The tents here go back and back and back into big fields, and then there's another side of the road that is the same, has tents in fields that go pretty far back. And the way it's organized, if you can call it organized, is that there's different fields, they call them, that are owned by different people that vendors rent from. So they have different names, like there we just passed Black Swan Market or Meadow or something. And there's Maze, and there's Hurtons, and there's Heart of the Mart, and there's Quaker Acres. It doesn't really matter. It just helps you find vendors you like a second time. There's no real rhyme or reason to who's where in terms of what they sell or anything like that. It's pretty much all jumbled up. And you eventually sort of find favorite vendors. I personally can't remember too many from time to time. Anyway, here I'm just walking around, and aside from antiques, there's people who sell a lot of weird yard stuff, like new faux vintage yard stuff. That's what you're seeing here. Oh, and look, there's cows way behind everything. And there's just everything. There's furniture. I don't know if that's someone's bike or if it's for sale. There's lots of random yard furniture and stuff. Mostly it's vintage and antique, but there are a few people who sell newer stuff, or like more artsy or upcycled or faux vintage stuff. It's pretty clear what's what, though. There's people who sell huge gas station signs. These were enormous. Toys, games, everything you can think of. Tons of every kind of pottery, glassware, ice cube trays, you know. And, oh, Pyrex. There's beautiful Pyrex, but it's so expensive. Oh, and here's some Fiesta ware. There's a World's Fair Fiesta ware pitcher for $125. And that's about the price of things. I mean, generally, it's priced for consumers, not for resellers. So you have to be canny and really search through stuff and really dig and find vendors who may not know what they have or who will give you a deal. It's really geared towards consumers. Like there's like Fire King and Anchor Hawking and Snoopy glasses and Swanky Swigs and all this stuff. I don't really buy any of that. It's too big and fragile, and I don't have room for it. There's more beautiful Pyrex, beautiful 50s pink colors. Look, $50 for a little casserole thing, which, is fair, but you can't be a reseller and buy that. There's more beautiful Pyrex. Sorry, this is so herky-jerky. Like I said, it's my phone. There's rocks and minerals and fossils and games. And here this is coming up on a booth where I really had a good score, as they say. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm like looking around the Coalport flowerware stuff. Teacups, all this Breaking Bad action figures, dolls, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, look, it's paper. What is it? It's sheet music, and it's in like really rough shape. And so I wasn't super interested in that. It wasn't very interesting, and it was really ripped up. A lot of it was classical too, which is harder to sell usually, but this is just a mess. But the thing is, the next table over at this vendor's, they had, well, let's see. Oh, look at all those postcards. Look at all those greeting cards, books. So I got really excited, and there were some really nice books in this box, actually. I only ended up buying one, which was a 1860s Abraham Lincoln book. No, not that one. But that was a cool book. A guy started talking to me pretty soon, so I stopped filming. But what I did find is in that huge bin or 2 bins of postcards, there were some awesome postcards, and I ended up buying 80 postcards, if you can believe it, and that was me having to put a lot back because I just had too many. There's some of my piles I was working on. So the other thing about Brimfield is there's really good dogs there. So when your eyes get tired from looking at antiques, you can pat dogs, which I really appreciate. You really have to dig through stuff. This is a crazy box of rings. There's kind of something for everyone, and some of it's kind of weird. And it's a really good place for people watching. This lady kind of made my day. And so basically, I recommend it. If you can get there without too much hassle, it's totally worth it. And that's about it.